In September this year, the EBA published its first full impact study on the implementation of Basel IV. Like we have explained before, the proposal in Europe is to have phase-in periods. So this latest impact study does have the impacts after the phasing-in period, so where the full framework is implemented. And that impact study was conducted across 160 banks within the European Union. And the overall impact of the full adoption turned out to be between 15 and around 18% of the Tier 1 capital increase because of the adoption of Basel IV. With the largest contributors being the introduction of the output floor, which is not entirely unexpected. So because mainly the large banks, the Group 1 banks as they call them, these are the banks that have most of their portfolios modeled using the IRB approach. So the output floor, which is set at 72.5% of the risk-weighted assets calculated by the standardized approach, that floor is having a major impact to a larger degree, of course, to the Group 1 banks as opposed to the Group 2 banks. Second main contributor to the overall large increase in capital requirements is the credit risk component of it. And there it's really obvious that the standardized approach is leading to the largest increase in capital requirements under Basel IV. As we have explained before, the standardized approach of credit risk is much more risk sensitive. The risk weighting logic is much more refined and detailed, and therefore also for certain banks, specifically the banks that are only using the standard approach have a lot of challenges in adopting the Basel IV. Market risk, similar impact, mainly the standardized approach. Portfolios and banks are seeing the biggest increase in their capital requirements according to that study. So these, as you can see overall, as we are getting towards the final adoption of the Basel IV framework in Europe, also the contours of the framework and where the rules will be landing are becoming increasingly clear, and now we also have a good view of the final impact. So in conclusion, the banks have 2 years to go to the same trajectory as the banks in other countries that have gone through it by now. The 2 years is basically where from the impact study towards the full implementation, a lot of work needs to be done, taking into account these challenges, specifically with implementation of the output floor and the standardized approaches. Thank you.